All right, hi everyone. My name is Alicia, and welcome to my Minorities in the Middle East presentation. So, for my Minorities in the Middle East presentation, I was assigned the COPS chapter. In this chapter titled COPS From Majority People to Minority Religion, I chose to focus on information that fell under the socio political topic, more specifically, human rights. As you can see in the chapter title, there is the word Copts. This word represents the largest Christian group in Egypt. The Copts view themselves as descendants of ancient Egyptians who also identify themselves as Egyptian Christians. So, Copt culture is a product of its Christianity. The Copt people adopted some of the teachings of Saint Mark, aka one of Jesus Christ's disciples, after bringing the gospel to North Africa. When it comes to them fighting for their faith, the Egyptian Copts faced persecution of pagan Rome and after faced the hostility of the Byzantine Church and later Islamic rule. And this was at some time in between these periods. So, to encourage and keep their values after the Council of Chalcedon, the Copts set forth to remove Greek influence from all literature and liturgy. Liturgy just means public worship. So we can see that the Copts have a history of long suffering, but are steadfast in their faith. Some styles of persecution were having to wear different clothing to identify themselves as other or inferior, and not being able to have access to everyday essentials. So, for example, I uh, included horse riding or riding horses. So Copt history was burdened with minority status under Islam more than 1,000 years. Conversion to Islam was a ticket to physical security and social acceptance, and also political opportunity. But unfortunately, some Copts gave up their faith just to conform, so they converted to Islam and abandoned their faith. Um, the Islamic conquest inaugurated the decline of Christianity in the Nile Valley. So now that we've covered some background information about the cops, let us move on to a recent article that was posted in the last month titled Egypt, Political Activists Silenced with Legal Battles, written by Jennifer Hollies. Hollies, I think that's how you say it. So this article talks about a 31-year-old man named Patrick Zaki who is awaiting an eighth hearing against him. Zaki is a human rights activist and a Coptic Christian, so there's a connection right there. Zaki was accused of spreading false news after publishing an article about the repression of Egyptian Coptic Christians on an online platform, and I believe that platform was Facebook. So if convicted, he would face 5 years of imprisonment, and his eighth hearing came to pass and was adjourned for 3 months to February 2023, just like the past 7 times. Zaki has now spent 22 months in pretrial detention. With the possibility of going to jail, he temporarily forfeits signing job contracts to work, proposing to his girlfriend, he mentions that in the end of the article, and finishing his degree in Italy. He is also put on travel ban, which has created another barrier. So he's really having a tough time right now, trying to do anything with his life, anything normal. So, fortunately, his university in Bologna, Italy, and human rights organizations are supporting him with campaigns. His supporters express that he is a prisoner of conscience and who is being prosecuted for exercising his right to freedom of expression. His supporters are demanding a statement from the prosecution in Mansour of Egypt, but they haven't received a statement yet. The supporters believe that Mansoura is using a strategy of keeping people charged with political crimes in limbo, which reduces external pressures on Egypt over political cases. And with this, Egyptian authorities can pursue rearresting human rights defenders in order to intimidate and silence them. So, for the record, there are about 65,000 other political prisoners just like Zaki, and this is an ongoing human rights crisis in the country. Um, this news relates to the U.S.'s interest in Egypt because the U.S. and Egypt share a strong partnership based on mutual interest in Middle East peace and stability, um, economic opportunity, and regional security. And just to add, there were other cases like Zaki's that got dismissed due to pressures from Western capitals. And Western capitals they just wanted to ensure that Egypt was practicing what they preached, which was the Mansour prosecutor stating that there is no discrimination of the Christian minority, end quote, and that, quote, everyone has equal rights, quote, end quote. And Zaki just felt like they weren't being truthful in that statement or in those statements, and he believes it's really truly discrimination. And there's a lot of like evidence to back that up because there's 65,000 other people that are going through the same thing. So it's pretty crazy. So here is my works cited, and that is the end of